welcome to NUFS Said. I'm Mike.
I'm Clay.
And we're the New Ulm Film Society, and we're here to talk about some movies.
Yes, we are.
We got some, honestly, kind of a boring slate of films coming out in terms of, like, there's not a lot of really exciting, like, new ideas or anything
Depends
like
on
that.
how you view it, because it's basically the start of the
Blockbuster
summer
season.
blockbuster season. Exactly. So
Yeah.
these are the big budget tentpole films that the studios want to release to hopefully make a lot of money. For the most part, actually, I think some of these, especially the A24 one, is probably not quite that, but it's a little
This
different.
is all,
but-
like, I
but
mean,
for the most part,
sequels, remakes,
Yep.
and just,
franchise management.
franchises. And
For
not
the
that
most
I'm,
part.
anti-franchise and anti-big budget stuff like that. It's just doesn't really get me all jazzed up like some original storytelling.
You know, I'm kind of with you on that one. I would probably be a little bit more upset, but the thing is, it feels usually the summer months, that was when they franchise stuff came out.
Yeah.
Now they're kind of always just sprinkling it in throughout the year.
Well, not only that, but like the blockbusters used to not just be tentpole franchise films. Your
It's true, they were
blockbusters,
new.
they were Jaws,
Yeah.
Star Wars, Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
original films that
Independence
studios
Day.
took risks on.
Yeah.
Independence Day, my
Yes,
favorite.
We love that one. And it was just, they were original films, but they knew they were going to make all the money because this was just such, they're
And they
spectacle.
were
The
familiar
spectacle.
stories. Like Independence Day is War of the Worlds, essentially.
Yep.
Jaws is your standard monster
giant monster
movie,
movie.
It's not like they were taking huge risks with the storytelling, but they were at least giving us original stories. We weren't coming back to franchises that were being crushed under the weight of their own lore,
Well, that was kind of the idea, though, is just like, let's get because it's summer and it's warm out, so how do we get people in a theater when
Yeah.
it's nice outside? By giving them big spectacle and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that became part of the summer routine. It was
Yeah.
like, we're going to go see a movie on a Friday night and, get away from the heat into the air conditioning of a movie theater and spend $20 on some popcorn and a soda.
Yeah, it was the marketing. It was all for it, man.
Yeah.
Things have changed a little bit, and now it's almost like they have the blockbuster season year-round to some extent. I think that's what the studios are hoping for. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but we can talk about that later. But, we're finally here with the season, and of course
Yeah.
we're getting the first big one, I believe we got to.
Well, speaking of franchises crushed under the weight of their own lore, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Thunderbolts, coming out in the first week of May.
Lena, being a hero, there is no higher calling. Your sister understood something about that.
I should have come back for you.
No. That's just a fairy tale.
I was in high school when the Avengers came. Kind of strange that it's all over now. No one's coming to save the day.
I think we are. We can be the ones that are coming.
But you have the wrong people. We have all done bad things.
Look, I've been where you are. The past doesn't go away. So you can either live with it forever, or you can do something about it. I am a void. Look what you unleashed. You can't outrun the emptiness.
We can't do this. No one here is a hero.
We all have things that we regret.
But I have so many.
Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's why we need each other.
We can't stop him alone. No one can. But we can find a way. Together.
Marvel Studios Thunderbolts.
All right. It looks like fun. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm a little worried it's going to suffer from the Suicide Squad syndrome. It's a lot of stuff to pack into the movie in terms of characters, and these are all like your B's and C tiers.
Yep.
And they're going against Sentry, who I am not overly familiar with, but from what I know, he is the most overpowered villain or hero in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've understood too. Now, I'm a little optimistic, that it goes the Suicide Squad instead of Suicide Squad, because the second Suicide Squad movie is quite good. But one of the things that's interesting about this is this version of the trailer we just saw. This is the first time I saw this.
I haven't seen this one
this
either,
specific
yes.
trailer.
Yeah.
The other trailers I'd seen a lot more comic and funny, almost like Guardians of the Galaxy style and
Yes.
stuff. And this is a little. I'm glad I saw this trailer because I have started to see some reviews trickling in for this movie for some of the critics who've seen it. And their response is, it's way more serious than we thought we were led to believe. It's not that much like Guardians of the Galaxy. It is really
Hence, we
a
go
little bit more
back to the
serious.
Suicide Squad
Yeah,
problem, where
that's-
the marketing was
yeah.
one way and the film was another.
Exactly. But the thing is, even those movies were kind of silly. This one, they're
Well, the
taking-
second one especially
Yeah,
was silly.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
worked for that.
I like that. I
yeah,
liked it
but
better.
like the first one was portrayed like that's what it was gonna be,
and it
and
should've
then it
been
was just like sad
way
and
more
everybody
dour than
dies.
it should've
Like,
been.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll have that when you call it Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah.
But this one, one of the things is it was very. Another one of the critics who I saw reviewed it basically said, it's you don't have to know a lot of the back lore for it. It's pretty simple. They just catch you up really quickly, actually.
Well, yeah.
And that's for this one too. So it's one of the first movies in a while where they haven't had a lot of preponderance of backstory, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, considering.
And they also mentioned Sentry, who a lot of people don't know much about him, but he's overpowered. And one of the interesting things, I didn't know this, but I guess the Sentry character was a lot of times brought into the comics to retcon stuff when continuity got out of control. That's what his character was a lot. But he's not being used for that in this movie. He actually is being played kind of straight for what he is, which is like kind of, okay, so he's not being a joke. They're taking this pretty serious. And there's some pretty heavy themes in this one from what I understand. So it was, a lot of people were surprised by that. So the trailer we just showed here, probably the most accurate version of what you're going to see compared to the other ones. that we
I
saw.
really like the cast. All of the
Yeah.
characters are ones that I enjoyed in the previous material. I liked the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so seeing John Walker again, I'm interested in it.
Yep.
I love, Yelena and her appearances in the Black Widow movie and in Hawkeye were the highlights.
Yep.
But they're all super underpowered to fight Sentry, and that's where my concern is that it's gonna be they win through the power of friendship, which is gonna feel real weak.
Well, what I'm suspecting is what they're going to do is that it will be less that, because you're right, I don't think they can physically beat
Certainly not.
Sentry. So what's probably going to happen is they're probably going to have to find a way to talk, because that's the thing about Sentry, is he a bad guy or a good guy?
Well, that's
the thing, is they might have to find a way to make him not.
hence the power of friendship.
They might have to do that, but it might be something just like, because I don't know too much about this backstory, and the thing is the Thunderbolt characters, that there's Thunderbolt comics, this is apparently very different from the actual Thunderbolt comics, which is why they had that asterisk there, because that's not technically the full title of this movie, and we're not going to get the reveal. That's why they keep putting that asterisk on everything.
Interesting, because I'm pretty sure in the comics the Thunderbolts generally have some heavy hitters.
They do.
Actually,
they do.
like a Red
But-
Hulk
exactly,
or like a...
Exactly. But the thing is, and one of the backstories is, for a while there, the Thunderbolts were led by villains, like
Norman
Osborn,
was
Spider-Man's main
famously,
villain. Yeah, so that's kind of like, oh gosh, we're going to get Green Goblin in this thing? That'd be weird, because we haven't got him yet, and we did in we got the Defoe version.
I would
We
take
could
a
still- let's
Defoe
still bring
version,
we
yeah.
can bring the Defoe version back. He'd fit in.
He's in the universe. They established him.
They
You
might as
know,
well do that.
let's get Defoe in there.
We don't have enough Defoe.
If he's in there, I'm
we had
into
this
it.
conversation last month. We never have enough Defoe.
The silliness of the outfit also is
Yeah,
indicative of the quality of the
see.
films.
We'll see how we go with that. But I am pretty optimistic about this one. I think it'll probably be just a very different. I have a feeling this will be more of a different kind of Marvel film than we've had in a while.
I am terrible. I haven't watched a single one of the movies since Endgame, which is years ago now.
Yeah.
I've watched a few of the shows. I've watched the Loki show. I've watched the WandaVision show.
Sure.
I watched Agatha
Yep.
all along.
Oh, yep.
I watched the Hawkeye show, and I watched the Captain America show. I just haven't seen many of the movies.
Yep.
And I don't know if I'm going to see this one either, unfortunately.
Well, we'll see how we get to it. Might take a bit. But, one thing that'll make you feel really terribly old, but remember, this whole Marvel continuity thing started in 2008 with Iron Man.
Oh, I know.
That was 17 years ago.
I was a senior in high school, and I went with my girlfriend at the time, and it was very exciting for us to see Iron Man.
Yep, and then we're still here. And what's really scary is like someone, in 2 years we're supposed to get another the Secret Avengers movie in 2027.
Oh, they just started shooting, right?
Yeah,
With Robert
exactly.
Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom,
Yeah,
which
exactly. And the thing about that is, another critic said, keep in mind when that happens, that it'll be 19 years that this continuity is going on. And you know what else? When you take 19 years apart, you know what was 19 years apart? The first Iron Man from the first Tim Burton Batman movie.
wow.
So stuff changes.
Yes,
and
it
this
does.
trailer alone had a part of it where you have a character saying, "Well, I was 12 years old when I was in high school when the Avengers saved the world. I don't think they're coming." That's what they're talking about. They're trying to bring generational stuff into this.
My kids have seen them all because they watch everything without me, which is one of the reasons I haven't seen any of them. Get Disney Plus; they think they can do whatever they want.
Yes, that's the power. But man, that could be a good slogan for them. They could probably sell off that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is I think the only kind of original story that we're getting this month in terms of the ones we're actually going to look at. So this film is called Friendship. We'll take a look at it right now.
Hello? Howdy. Howdy.
Honey, the new neighbor invited you over for a drink at 8 tonight. I said you'd go.
You don't know my schedule.
You sit there every night. Might be nice to have a pal, a bud.
Hey guys, this is my neighbor Craig. He's the best.
I was just spiraling. I see the way the guys look at her. I'm scared.
Sheila's lucky to have a dad like you.
Boy, you should know that I've got you on my mind, your secret admirer. I've been watching you at night. I think of you. I want to be your baby.
If your game is on, give me a call, boo. If your love is strong,
I can see the future. It's full of pals. I'm on the edge of life, and the view is gorgeous.
Look, we had a couple of really nice hangs, but I think it best that we go our separate ways. I don't wish to continue this friendship.
You all accepted me way too fast. You can't do that. You made me feel too free. People need rules.
You should be dead, you psycho! Who are you?
Give me a second chance. Get to know me.
There's a new Marvel out that's supposed to be nuts. We should go see that.
Imagine how they matched up with each other there. Get a Marvel reference right at the end of that trailer.
You want to go see the new Marvel movie?
Intense.
I mean, that's a timely statement at this point. There's one out every month.
Marvel, yeah.
All right, so this is a film from a guy named Andrew DeYoung, who I know nothing about, but has apparently worked a ton. I looked at his IMDb. The man has 1,000 credits. He's very young in terms of like in the industry, but he's worked a ton. Bunch of shorts, a ton of television. So I don't really know what to expect. I have nothing to gauge from this. There's no way except Paul Rudd's in it, which is usually a good barometer of whether something's good or not.
Yeah. And it's just what's so striking is this trailer though. It does look like a thriller, like a suspense thriller.
Yeah.
But all the pull quotes are like, "This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. This is hilarious." I'm like, this does not look funny. How is this funny?
Cable Guy vibes.
I know.
Like just pure. Like insanity, maybe like Cable Guy from the opposite perspective, where you're engaging with the Jim Carrey side instead of the.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of probably a good example for what this is. It's just it does look kind of scary though, and it's just. But I guess it's supposed to be a comedy.
Have you watched I Think You Should Leave on Netflix yet?
I didn't see that one.
Okay, that's the Tim Robinson sketch show where he's ostensibly the main character of this has a sketch comedy show on Netflix, and it's insane. I mean, I recommend watching it. It's got some of the funniest sketches I've seen in a long time. And so I'm expecting big things from this movie.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be very funny.
Yeah, I think it'll be probably one of the films that a lot of people end up talking about and gets on that radar, just because it's probably. This is a hard film to gauge what it is exactly.
It looks insane.
Yeah, it's clearly got some funny comedy to it, but there's some really hard drama and some storylines that you don't really get too much. Where it's like, no, I don't want to be your friend. Kind of thing.
Well, it's hitting that male loneliness epidemic that they're talking about.
Yeah, it's just so weird, and it's just like how. And that's the other thing is I'm not sure because Robin's character, he clearly seems to be a bit unhinged there, but you almost wonder like how much of that is Paul Rudd's fault? Is him just not being a very kind of flaky guy?
I'm also wondered how much is taking place in his imagination.
Yeah, that's true too.
I got that sort of vibe where
I got that vibe too. Like he was like imagining, I can see the future, and a lot of that was him imagining what was going to happen. It's like that didn't happen. We didn't do any of that stuff. I don't know why you thought that was going to happen.
Yeah, which is an interesting sort of thing where like you got the unreliable narrator and like so. I'm sure based on what I saw, there will be visual cues for what's happening in his imagination versus what's happening in actual, and whether that's something that's used throughout the film or just a single instance, I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably what we'll see. It'll just be. I'm excited for it just because it's going to be something different that I think and I think because Paul Rudd's in it.
And you know who else made this film? A24.
Exactly.
So we know Clay will be all over it.
Well, my fiance will say, we have to, it's A24. So it's like, you're right. I can't argue with that. And so we'll go check it out. And but I think that it'll probably just, there's a potential for this movie to be the film it's like that friendship movie. It's one of those kind of relationships.
Yeah.
Like it'll be shorthand for describing a phenomenon or something. Like it's like when someone's like
describing a stalker.
Yeah, maybe. Or it's like we gotta dump this guy.
Yeah.
Let's friendship him or something. It's like, well, what if he goes total friendship on us? I could see that happening where this being coming.
Gosh, I remember in high school ditching some guy that we were hanging out with, and it was we went through great lengths to get rid of him, and in a brutal fashion because you're in high school and
now
now
he knows because he's
sorry, Chris.
So mean, but it's just. But again, this is, and I think it was very pointed how they had the trailer and like, want to see the Marvel? It looks.
Yeah.
It's like they're kind of like commenting like we're releasing this right in peak Marvel time. This is a summer blockbuster, but this is not what you normally would release as a summer tentpole blockbuster. So I'm not sure what A20. I think they're almost doing opposition programming here. It's like, well, you don't want to watch that. If you don't want to watch Marvel, you come see this.
Yeah, you scoop up all the low-budget movies, you throw them out in opposition.
And we're doing opposition, and we even took a guy from Marvel. We took Ant-Man. We put him in this thing and see what we're going to see.
Well, Paul Rudd's in the usual staple of A24 movies because he was in Death of a Unicorn.
Yes,
too,
he was.
So he's not exclusively big-budget guy.
There too, so that helps out. But that's exciting, just that we've come to this level that we can get this kind of movie in the summer blockbuster thing.
All right, so next we'll take a look at what I would say was probably Steven is probably the most excited for this one, which is Final Destination Bloodlines, which looks pretty insane.
So, which one of you is next?
You found some way to stop death and survive.
To break the cycle, there are only two ways. By killing, if you take a life, you get the time that person had left. Or you have to die.
What? No.
Good luck.
Final Destination, Bloodlines, in theaters May 16th, rated R.
So that's not the first spot that I saw.
No, it's not the first one. Actually, this is the first time I saw that one.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Todd, obviously, he's been in, I think, all but one of them, maybe?
Most of them.
Yeah, and he's since passed away, so...
This will be his last time on screen,
okay.
from what I understand. So, yeah, but, and he's in a movie about death coming for you, and he just died, and we're going to see him posthumously in this. I don't know if they could...
Yeah.
It's awkward advertising, but that's pretty powerful. That'll probably be...
Yeah. How many of these have you seen?
I've not many. I saw the original.
I saw the original as well. Yep.
and I know of I didn't see the second one, but the second one is kind of infamous now, and some people argue the second one is the best now, just because.
I've seen the second one. I watched the first two, and I liked those ones. Steven has watched all of them several times. He's a big fan back there.
Cool.
Could you just briefly describe the lore to us so we can have some kind of understanding of what is happening?
Yeah, so the spot that we chose that because it had the least gore. So we didn't want to show, the other trailers showed a lot more.
Yes, it did. I saw that one.
I saw one with a lawnmower and all that. So.
I saw the one with the tattoo parlor. That was pretty
God, I didn't see that one.
That was pretty brutal.
So the basic concept of Final Destination is that one character will get a premonition of some sort of catastrophe that is going to take out themselves and all of their friends, and then they go back in time, and then they can make a different choice. But then
Has
death
the murder element ever been introduced before?
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing of the murder element.
Yes, murder.
Oh, all right. When was that introduced?
I mean, in the fifth one, I think there was a bit of a murder element. The second film, which you've both seen, has not murder, but there is like a sense that if there's a death can replace a life kind of
death
thing.
Can pay
So,
for life. The old Alchemist.
Well, I mean, that was kind of even in the Smile franchise, kind of set that up too. Like, as long as if you kill someone else, then you don't have to commit suicide. It passes on. So that's it's come up a bit here, but that's kind of what I always understood. There would always be some horrible catastrophe. Starts with a plane crash in the first one.
Yep.
Second movie is a highway pileup, which
Yep.
has become the most
The
infamous
log
one.
scene, yes.
Most infamous one.
And then the third one was the roller coaster, I'm pretty sure.
Either that or it was a racetrack. I can't remember which one though. I think you're right.
the third one is a roller coaster. The fourth one is a racetrack. The fifth
I didn't
one.
see either of those ones, but I just remember the trailer for those ones.
They were everywhere.
The fifth one might be the best one, and it is a bridge collapse.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I didn't even know about that one.
And looks like this one might be, and I'm not sure, but based on the trailer, it looks like the Space Needle's falling down there or something.
Something, yeah.
Which is kind of creepy in itself, but.
So this is from a director team that has done some work, including the Kim Possible TV movie. So I don't know what your level of expectation is for this one, but if it's anything like the Kim Possible Disney original movie, it's not going to be good.
Oh, no. Well, that's really, I don't know. From what I understand the franchise, because I'm not as big a fan as Steve there, who could be. But, again, my fiance is, so I probably will be seeing this one because of that. She loves these films.
It's worth noting that they are younger directors, but they were able to convince the studio to let them direct the film based off of an interview that they did over Zoom, in which they had some sort of Rube Goldbergian death coming for them in the middle of their pitch.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe this is more up their alley, and they're going to have a lot more fun and interesting things to say and do. I mean, I can't imagine directing a Disney Channel animated movie as a creative experience.
Yeah.
And now this director is interestingly a product of the Spielberg show On the Lot from 2007. If you're familiar with that one.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a reality television series where they pitted young up-and-coming directors against each other for a chance to win a directing job at the end of it. I assume it was a Spielberg product in the mid 2000s.
Yep.
I vaguely recall it because at the time I was trying to convince my parents to let me go to film school, and my mom was like, "Look, they got a TV show."
There you go, perfect. Well, that's how you get it, but it clearly worked. They got this. The newest Final.
He didn't even come in first, and now he gets to make a Final Destination.
I know, it's great, and we can see how that'll turn out here. And it's I don't know. It's hard to say if this one, maybe it'll revitalize the franchise. Maybe it's the closing one because we're not going to be able to use Tony Todd anymore, and he's been the mainstay for so long.
Well, I think he wasn't in one of them. He was in all but one, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was. Yeah. But Tony Todd, horror legend. You throw him in there, you love him. He's the candy man.
Mm-hmm.
He only typically appears for a couple of seconds in each film. So
he was never because
I think in the third film he was a voiceover.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like he's a major character in this.
He'd have a cameo pretty much because he had one scene in the original, but it was a good scene.
Yeah,
he was
a
powerful scene.
The morgue guy.
Yeah, exactly. And then he just keeps popping up anyway, and it's just.
Which I'm okay with. Anything. He's got great presence.
He's allowed to do that. It worked.
Okay. I just know that whatever trivia that Steven has come up with for this movie, we're going to get wrong because...
Well, maybe he'll make a reference to Tony Todd being in Star Trek a bunch.
I was going to say, I know him a lot from Star Trek. So.
He's great.
Yeah,
He's
Steven doesn't watch Star Trek. So.
He should. He played some great characters in Star Trek.
So the next and final movie we're going to look at... Oh, no, I'm sorry. We got two more. That's my bad. Next one we're going to look at is another sequel on its umpteenth iteration, of which I only watched the first two, weirdly enough. So we're going to take a look.
more of these ones.
Yeah, all right, yeah. We're going to take a look at the trailer for Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. We'll take a look here.
This can't all be true.
Every word.
CIA Black Vault break-in.
Am I reading this correctly? The Kremlin bombing?
In fairness, the bomb was actually meant to kill him.
He gassed a security briefing.
That was just 2 months ago.
This explains the handcuffs. It's still not clear why he's here.
If we want to bring the world back from the brink, we have to deal with him.
Should he choose to accept?
Smart people on every side are close to panicking.
What exactly is your plan?
Your team has been betrayed, Ethan. All your secrets compromised.
Everything you are, everything you've done, has come to this.
You gave him an aircraft carrier?
Our lives are the sum of our choices. This is your calling, your destiny. I have no regrets. Neither should you.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
I used to have a big problem with Tom Cruise.
I know.
I know, I used to. I don't anymore. I love Tom Cruise now. I've come around to it. Scientology thing, less so. But just the filmmaking aspect of it, I come around on him. About 10 years ago, you couldn't pay me enough to see a Tom Cruise movie. And now, I may go see this one. I'm probably not gonna, because I'm like way behind on the movies.
That's fine. I have to catch up a little bit. I didn't see the last Dead Reckoning yet either. But other than that, I'm caught up, Phil.
I went and looked at the list of directors for the movies. Just starting from the first one is De Palma, obviously, and I knew that. And then the second was John Woo. The third one was J.J. Abrams.
Yep.
And then the fourth one was Brad Bird.
Yep.
And then the last few have been Chris McQuarrie.
Yep.
Who is, you know,
the writer guy.
Yeah. Working with Tom Cruise left and right on top of that. And they've very fruitful.
Yep.
I'm going to have to watch these because I've seen all the other ones that they've done together, and I've enjoyed those ones. So,
yeah.
But just talk about a list of directors too. It's, you know,
yeah.
Cruise was, especially at that point, was always working with like the best talent.
Yep.
Part of the reason I didn't like him, but also I think specifically I had a huge problem with him because his collaborations with Spielberg. I hate those movies. I hate them so much.
War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds is a piece of utter garbage. It's so bad. I take back. There is one scene in it that is good. It is the basement scene. That is a good scene. That is it is worthwhile filmmaking right there. Everything else in that movie is a soulless vehicle for commercialism, and I despise it.
Okay.
Minority Report, I dislike greatly. I feel like it's not a good movie, and on top of the fact that it has some of the largest plot holes in cinema history, it's just boring and dumb, and I dislike it And that is the period that I credit for Spielberg's ultimate demise as a filmmaker in terms of me not being able to enjoy his films. Up until, okay, everyone tells me The Fabelmans is good. I haven't seen it yet. I've watched enough Spielberg movies hoping that he's turned a corner, and I've yet to see that happen.
We'll find out, though. But yeah, that's a lot of stuff there to go unpack.
Yeah,
We'll get
I
to it,
like
though.
Spielberg.
But
all right?
just didn't like it when he combined with Cruise.
Well, that's the period where he starts to go downhill, in my opinion.
Well, I think you touched on something good, and I'm just kind of glad you mentioned that, the first 4 directors of these Mission Impossible movies were pretty big name directors who have done a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, they directed a Mission Impossible. The fact that they started with De Palma, and the funny thing about that original Mission Impossible movie, that is so clearly directed by De Palma.
Oh, yeah.
That is-
It's a De Palma movie.
That is a De Palma movie.
Yeah,
That is
it's
totally
different.
Split diopters
Yeah.
all over the darn place, and then some other stuff. And then the second one, John Woo. That's a John Woo film.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
It's clearly, and I don't know, 3, I don't know if it's J.J. Abrams necessarily. Yeah, kind of, a little bit. I see it a little
Well,
bit
the
there.
thing about Abrams is that he's a parrot who mimics other
He can do
directors.
it, yeah.
That's
And
his. That's
so
his
he's good at
penchant. That's his
so
specialty.
that might be the hardest one to see. And then
lens flares too, but
then when you get Bird doing the 4th one,
Yeah.
who mostly did a lot of cartoons,
Animation, yeah.
animation, which is so strange. And then to be honest with you, the 4th one is probably the best one. Actually, it is too. So I
Haven't seen
think
it, so.
I think it's very good because it came out of nowhere. It came back because the franchise has been at hiatus for a while, and then they're just like, nope, we're bringing it back. And then they're like, okay, that's interesting. I like okay. And then the last one's Christopher Quarry. Yeah, he's a pretty talented writer. He knows what he's doing. So I
Yeah.
think that's why. And that's the thing about Tom Cruise that I think is important to notice. He's a very wise collaborator
Yes.
with what he does. He knows. He's worked with some of the best. He wants to work with the best of the best. And from what I understand,
feels like at this point in his career, he's kind of ghost directing these movies.
Mhm.
I mean, like whether it's true or
Oh,
not.
I think you're right.
It feels like more of a collaboration between himself and another creator, as opposed to just like working with a director.
Well, that's why I think he brought on Christopher Quarry, because they work with each other. I mean, they were out on the Top Gun Maverick too. They were there, and I think they just this is Chris. He's probably like, Chris, this is what I like to see, and he's like, you're right. Let's see if we can make it work.
And these films, especially the last couple, are so clearly a vehicle for his talent and vision that it's like, director obviously is more, in this instance, I think less of a creative force and more of a administrative force, which is no shot against him at all.
No, it's not.
These are huge projects.
Exactly, but I think a lot of these movies, especially the more recent ones, like, all right, Tom Cruise is gonna do a crazy stunt.
Yep.
We're gonna have him do a crazy stunt. Let's shoot that crazy stunt. Let's get the cameras out and we'll just check it out.
And it's his job to make that vision happen.
Let's write it so that we can justify having this crazy stunt in
Yeah.
there. So Chris Quarry has been able to do that. And the thing is, from what I understand, Quarry, he directed the last few, but he was a writer before that on these two.
He didn't write
he
the
wrote-
first two, at least, I know.
He wrote
Because
the-
the second one was Ronald D. Moore and Brendan Braga
Yeah,
of Star Trek fame.
I don't remember. I mean more recent ones. I think he came on around Ghost Protocol, but I could be. I don't know.
This is all beyond my time.
It could be
knowing.
bad. You've only seen the first few, but it's really fascinating. But I think that what's different about this film, this most recent Mission Impossible movie, is its direct continuation of the last one, which came out last year, because that was called Dead Reckoning, and this is Final Reckoning, because it's technically part 1, part 2.
Yes.
You kind of have to watch the previous one to understand what's going on in this one. Also, this one, they really emphasize this will probably be the last time Tom Cruise is in the lead for Mission Impossible. He's probably going to bow out. That's what the theory is.
Which is fine. I mean, it takes up a ton of his time. I'd love him to
Yeah.
see him
Do
produce
something
other
else.
projects.
But then the thing is, we've heard that story before. Like, supposedly he was supposed to bow out after part 4, and that was going to be his one, and then one of the other cast members was going to take it over for 5. But that didn't happen.
Yep.
And they just keep. It's just kind of funny that way. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to do something that's like, no, we gotta, because they're really, really emphasizing. They're using scenes from the first movie in that trailer, and like they are referencing stuff that happened in the original movie. So I think they're gonna like some kind of callback there, and there's some of the actors from the original movie.
Maybe
are
I'll
back,
actually
too.
get that reference.
Yeah, they probably will. I mean, because it's always have a different director of CIA that they always have to talk to.
Yeah.
They brought back the original guy from the first one. That's him. They were just talking about explaining. Yeah, he did that. In fairness, they were trying to kill him with that bomb. That guy's from the original movie. They brought him back.
I'll have to.
And,
I'll catch up. I'm gonna catch up.
You'll catch
Tom
up.
Cruise, you've done it. You've convinced me.
It's worth it just because there's.
They
some
look like fun too.
There's just some really, really fascinating action work in there, but it's just so strange. Where like one of my favorite, I was listening to the critic Patrick Willems explaining why these Mission Impossible movies are fascinating, and they're just explaining the original pitch for that first one they did in '96. And like, all right, Tom Cruise, you want to do a Mission Impossible? Yeah, we want a Mission Impossible movie. Like, we could get any directors. We got all these great action. De Palma. De Palma? Really? He's like, yeah, I want De Palma. I like some of the stuff he did in the 70s.
Yeah, Untouchables. Let's get that guy.
Let's get there. He's like, okay, sure, we can get De Palma. He's like, and we're going to have some really cool, crazy action set piece at the centers. He's like, no, it's going to be a room in a silent room where there is nobody talking and we have to be really quiet and just complete silence. It's like,
so riveting, though.
It makes no sense. And that would have came out the same year as, remember, Independence Day, which we're going to talk about. And that's one of those action-packed sequences where it's like so stressful, it's completely silent shot. And then also, it's like, obviously you'll be, because Mission Impossible is based on TV series.
Yep.
So like, obviously you'll be playing the lead role from that. No, I'm going to play a completely different character. And in fact, the main character from the TV series is only in it briefly and is maybe gets killed off right away.
Yeah.
It made so many decisions that are so baffling when they
But it
made
worked.
this movie. But it worked. He knew what he was doing is the kind of thing. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to second guess these Mission Impossible movies because the fact that they're still doing them after all these years.
I mean, they're still doing the Fast and the Furious, but it's not the same.
No. This is better than the Fast and the Furious.
I love those movies, though. Although I think I've only gotten up to 7 on that one, and I don't know how many there are at this point.
I don't know. Well, there's spin-offs now. So
I watched one of the spin-offs with The Rock and Jason Statham. That was fun.
Hell, Hobbs and whatnot.
Yes, Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah,
well, I digress, as we should. The next film we're going to talk about here is the newest Wes Anderson movie, The Phoenician Scheme. Ooh. Take a look at this.
At this moment, rescue workers are laboring to recover and identify the remains of Zsa Korda, international businessman, maverick in the fields of armaments and aviation, among the richest men in Europe. This was Korda's 6th recorded airplane crash. He is survived by 10 children, 9 boys, 1 nun, his daughter Liesel.
I've appointed you sole heir to my estate, which you may come into sooner rather than later.
Why? It's been 6 years since our last meeting.
I have my reasons.
Which are what?
My reasons? I'm not saying. I'm saying I'm not saying. Korda Land and Sea Phoenician Infrastructure Scheme, my most important project of my lifetime.
Our objective, disrupting, obstructing, impeding, crippling Korda's enterprise in any manner possible.
Get the hand grenades. Today, tonight, and tomorrow, we rendezvous with every Titan and pretend we agree what we already agree. But in fact, we don't. We can't. Call it. Heads. Heads.
Is this supposed to be here? It was under the lunch trolley.
Oh dear, who shot you?
Tara's from out of town. Help yourself to a hand grenade.
You're very kind.
Could you imagine falling in love with a man like me, by the way, hypothetically?
You're drunk on 3 beers.
Why are you shooting my ceiling?
This is a robbery on behalf of...
I understand that. I'm asking about my ceiling. You idiots are destroying a magnificent nightclub.
One thing you'll never know because you can't. The truth. I suppose I'm moved by this absurd performance. I recognize this assassin. Go now. Suicide panel.
Where's the father? Take this miserable sin
I mean, yeah, at this point, we know what to expect. I'm sure it'll be good. It's very colorful, as always. Great cast, as always. Every shot looks like a painting, as always.
Everything, yep. Very meticulous. And, my only thing is I'm sure I'll like it too. It's just whether or not I'll be able to see it. Because, darn it, they don't always play
They do not, yeah.
It's kind of sometimes hard to find his films.
Okay. I'm going to complain, like I always do.
Good.
I feel like there's not as much heart in the last couple as there used to be. Not saying that there's no heart in them, because I mean there is. It's there. I just feel like, maybe I'm old and curmudgeonly now.
No, I know what you're talking about. There's like there's a little bit of but there's always been a little kind of coldness, disconnect.
Yes,
in
and
a
that's
lot of
part of his
movies.
style, but like I feel like the human element is slowly being drained from them to the point of we're reaching meat puppet stage where
It's almost cardboard cutout, like
where-
where they're all with set dressing and they're just kind
Yes.
of pushing them through the scene. Sure.
the characters, the actors, the performances do not matter because they are all marionettes on a string and dancing for Wes at this point. And not to say that it's a bad thing, but Hitchcock often referred to actors as meat puppets.
Sure.
Who would do exactly as he said in a specific way so that the thing that was here would come out on the screen.
Yep.
And whether that came through or not in the distance and the coldness, it might be getting to a point where that's too much.
Yep.
Not to say that his style and his flair is something that I don't enjoy. I just feel like when we go back to some of his older movies, like The Royal Tenenbaums and like Life Aquatic, and you kind of felt the person reaching through a little more. Where I don't know if I felt that even in the hotel one there. Now I'm drawing a total blank here. Where I think it's great. It definitely has some heart to it, but it feels too cold at times. And I'm just wondering if maybe he's come too far.
Maybe they're just I think I kind of see what you're talking about, because when you think about some of his earlier films, there was just, and I especially saw this in Life Aquatic, I think, where there was actual motion, where they're physically moving through the set and walking and doing things. There's just so much of an artificiality, just the way it's set up with this camera shot, where it's like, and I think you're on point with the marionette reference too here. It's just like, this is clearly an artificial set that he's done, and people are walking through them, and it almost feels like it comes off as wooden, almost like it's not quite what we want there. And
Like the life is drained from the painting.
Something's not there. It's all the characters are all kind of talking in this weird way. It's like, that's not natural. What's going on there? And I always get a little concerned with it. It's interesting. It's fascinating to watch, and it's super funny, which is why.
Oh
we
yes,
kind of go back
absolutely,
to
yes.
It's just that detachment, and I mean that's kind of the point to some extent, because most of his movies end with people kind of finally making a connection, even to some way, and getting over that detachment, which is again Life Aquatic, and I was also thinking Moonrise Kingdom to some extent, which I like quite a bit.
Rushmore as well.
Rushmore, exactly. So they're just, but Rushmore is another good example of that. That movie doesn't have this almost, the sets almost where he wasn't so focused on this.
Well, he didn't have the budget to have the amount of control that he has now. Where it just feels like it's an iron fist of Wes Anderson.
He's controlling everything,
Yes,
the background, the degree, the weather, the
that
effects.
attention to detail is what made him who he is.
Yeah.
Like that's why he is the giant and the creative genius that he is. But like, is there a point where it's too far?
I don't know. I guess we're gonna. This one I'm a little optimistic for, because it looks like at the core of this one, it seems to be a relationship with a father and a daughter who are kind of, maybe not necessarily estranged, but he's like, it sounds like, just from the trailer, she's the only one he can trust. And like, she seems to be like, all right, I guess. And like around it. So it's kind of interesting where that'll go and how, what that detachment will be there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in it. I love the cast. He only works with the best. So I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm just wondering if we've come too far.
Well, it's like after a while, it's like, can I tell the difference between this one and the last one? It's like, is this like the French Dispatches, or what is this? Or just all the other ones like, oh yeah, he did that one too. Oh yeah. Where it comes to a point where it's like, can I?
Is it just because we're old though? Because it might just be that I'm old.
Or maybe we're feeling it. Well, part of me, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little concerned there. I had a meta moment, because I'm like, wait a minute. are we just characters in Wes Anderson, the two of us? Because we look like we could be Wes Anderson characters.
First of all.
The way we're colored and the way we're framed.
Thank you.
The way we're framed here. The only thing, and that's why I'm kind of wondering, that's why we get the outbursts. Maybe if we were more muted and just straightforward.
Yes, yeah, no, I think I'm too much of a cartoon character.
Maybe that's what we should do. We should do one of these in just the Wes Anderson style, and we
Yes.
just do the complete review, just very, very...
We'd have to have a very loud pattern on the curtain back here.
Yeah, but we have to be very symmetrical in our way we do it.
Yes.
And everything. But, I mean, maybe we are. But that's kind of what a lot of his films are about. It's like there's always a character who's like, am I too old? Have I been here too long?
All right, well, this is our last movie we're going to talk about quickly here. This is yet another Disney live-action remake that we can disparage and disagree with its existence. Much to our dismay, it exists anyway.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the trailer for Lilo and Stitch here.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment. Where is he?
He escaped.
He is trying to find the police cruisers.
He took the red one.
What hideous planet is caught in your crosshairs?
A shooting star! I wish for a friend. Like a best friend.
What the hell?
He's so cute and fluffy.
He is your responsibility. Got it.
We promise.
Yeah.
Get down from there.
Look like an angel.
No. Control him. Hey, what are you doing? No. Dogs on the table.
You sure that's a dog?
Yeah.
Rough.
Ew. We are not keeping this thing.
Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind.
Or forgotten.
Stitch bad.
Sometimes family isn't perfect. That doesn't mean they aren't good. That's close. I don't think you're supposed to drink that.
Agent Cobra Bubbles, we have a blue dog to catch.
No, wait!
No. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3, Stitch. 1.
I mean, it's a kids movie, so obviously there's that. And my kids did see this trailer, and they were passingly interested.
Okay.
They weren't excited like they were for some other films that they saw trailers for, but they were passingly interested. I think they'd probably just go watch the animated version.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus just the same, though, so.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they changed to make it. It's one of those, like we talked about with Snow White before. Did we need it? Did we need it to be live action? Was there something that was missing from the first one that we needed to?
Money.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it was just
I don't know what the budget on this is. I found reports anywhere between 60 and 150 million, but like the back end talent was not expensive.
No.
The director has only made one thing before. It was Marcel the Shell with the Shoes On, which I did not see.
I've heard it's cute.
The only other thing I could find about him is that he's Jenny Slate's ex-husband.
Oh boy.
And then the writers are literally people who've never written anything before.
Yeah.
They have no credits to their name that I could find on IMDb.
That's how
Actors involved. There's no one of any real note or cachet. A couple TV people, and that's about it. So I'm imagining the budget went entirely to the CGI, and that, is probably where any money that was. So this is they're banking on this to make a boatload of cash for very little money.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that was kind of the idea, and we can speculate and do the Monday morning quarterback stuff all you want, but I'm guessing because they put so much into Snow White, they're like, we got to do another one. Let's not take the risk. So instead of taking a movie that's ridiculously old, one of our oldest films, let's take one of the newer ones and do this treatment too. Because the original Lilo and Stitch was the 2000s or something.
Yeah, 25 years ago, I think. So
it's not even that old,
yeah.
So that part of me is just like, okay, and it just. So I'm not sure how to feel about this, but I have a sneaking suspicion it will be successful for them. I think they're going to actually get the money. That's what I'm afraid of here.
Yeah.
But maybe that's okay because the thing is Snow White didn't do as good as they hoped for, and then this one does. Because the thing is, and that's one of the things that gets
It'll be interesting.
One of the things that gets lost in some of these Disney remakes they've been doing lately. The ones that really did well for them and made them profitable were the ones from the 90s.
That's because all of those people, like me, have kids now, and they're taking them to see these movies.
I think this one will. I think it's not 90s, but I think it's still going to work for them for that reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it will. It'll probably be the big success. So I think what will happen is
hugely popular character.
That'll be their
Stitch.
Yeah, he is, and he's marketed all over the place. He's on T-shirts constantly. So it's like now we have a 3D version of him. Come on.
He's still animated, people. It's the same thing. It's just a different style of animation.
I know, we don't have Jennifer Lopez voiceover now for the characters. That's what have we lost here?
It's...
Ving Rhames isn't voicing the CIA agent anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be, but I don't think I'm going to go see this one.
I probably won't, but I know a lot of people who probably will.
I'm sure, yeah.
All right. Are you guys ready for some trivia? Let's see. Nope.
You struggling, Stephen?
I'm struggling. We'll get there.
We may have trivia.
We may have trivia, indeed. Let's see if he can stump us. I feel like we're going to get at least two.
Who was set to play Sentry prior to Lewis Pullman?
Oh, gosh. Before Bill Pullman's son, we must have had somebody else. So I'm going to guess...
Sad thing is I think I knew this before someone told me this one.
I have no idea.
Hollywood strikes...
What'd you say?
The Hollywood strikes came and they had to do a recasting.
Oh, they had to recast after the strike.
That's what caused it, huh? So who would have been before Pullman?
Gosh.
Now, Lewis Pullman, I feel I like Lewis Pullman, so I'm okay with him as Sentry. But who would have been before you get Lewis Pullman?
I don't know. I'm just gonna Henry Cavill. Definitely not him.
All right.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to think of actors that are not already in the...
Yeah, I know, the MCU.
That's hard.
Them all.
There's there's got to be a younger actor who's not already in the MCU, but probably has scheduling conflicts. Because it was probably scheduling conflicts.
I was going to say, I almost said Bill Skarsgård, but I think they threw him in there already somewhere.
No, I don't think they did.
I'm going to say Bill Skarsgård.
Let's go Bill
That's a great answer. It's Stephen Yeun.
Stephen Yeun.
Oh, interesting.
He's not in this Marvel Universe yet?
Not that I'm aware of. No, but he is Invincible, which would have been an interesting issue, because Invincible is a Superman facsimile as well.
Yeah.
Would have been
interesting.
interesting.
Well, we'll get Stephen Yeun in there eventually. He'll get in the MCU.
I bet he will.
We'll get there.
What season of SNL was Tim Robinson a featured cast member?
Featured cast member? Because I think
he was on for 4 seasons. He was a writer for 3 of those.
Yes, okay. So he was a writer first. I thought he was a writer first. And then he was...
He was actually a writer second.
Oh, he was? Okay.
He was taken from the featured cast and put on the writing cast.
I want to say, what season or what year? Because I don't know the season numbers.
Both.
Yeah.
I want to say...
Either.
We're almost on 50, so we got to...
Let me work back from 50 and say 41. I'm going to say 41.
41?
40.
Season 38 from 2012 to 13.
All right, 2013 era. Vaguely remember that.
The Final Destination series started as a rejected script for what 90s TV series?
X-Files.
X-Files.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think they actually ended up doing this episode that's similar to that.
I remember in college we talked to a guy who was a writer on the X-Files. It was very interesting. He had like a presentation that we went to at the Fargo Fantastic Festival or something. It was like a sci-fi convention in Fargo. And they had an X-Files writer there.
There were a couple episodes. There was a season 6 episode of X-Files, I know, where the guy was trying to get a photo of death so that he could die because he was effectively immortal. I could see that being.
I remember the guy saying it's a trip like 1,000 times. It's a trip, man. It was a trip. I don't remember what his name was, but I just remember him saying that.
It's a trip. We'll figure it out. But that's exciting. But yeah, I think. Yeah, it had to be the X-Files.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Maybe like Outer Limits, but there wasn't really.
There was an
Outer Limits
episode
at
of
the
in
time,
season 7 where there was a guy who was unnaturally lucky and he could just avoid through Rube Goldberg levels of luck he would survive stuff.
I have to rewatch this. I only watched the first season recently.
I feel like it could have worked on Fact or Fiction too. But.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What number installment is Final Reckoning in the Mission Impossible film series?
I was told I can't answer this because I looked it up before we came out here.
Let me do my math here. It's number 8.
He's right.
Is.
Number 8.
Number 8.
They stopped numbering them after.
Yeah. It was the 4th one is when they stopped that.
The Phoenician Scheme is the first time Wes Anderson is not working with his longtime cinematographer collaborator. Who is that?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
I don't know either. I should know this.
I feel like, yeah.
I don't remember.
I feel like this was a trick question. Not a lot of people know cinematographers, so.
I don't know a lot of cinematographers.
Is it himself? Is he only ever? Everyone in his movies looks
He's
exactly
not working
the same.
with
So.
I'm surprised he is switching up his cinematographer.
Gosh, yeah, I have no idea. I should know that because
whoever takes instructions really, really well.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna have to.
It was Robert D. Yeoman.
Well, I'm glad I didn't guess. I would have been.
Yeah, no, I would never have gotten that one.
I wouldn't have guessed Robert even. That would have been so far off.
And that's it. I didn't have one for Lilo and Stitch, so.
Oh wow! Well, because they have nothing.
There's nothing.
Of note.
Oh,
as I said.
I mean, what were we gonna do? What musician is featured heavily on the soundtrack to Lilo and Stitch? It's clearly Elvis. We already know that.
Yes. All right. Well, is there any movies you're looking forward to coming out in the summer?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little behind in double checking on what's coming out later on in the season here, so I'm sure there'll be something that pops up there.
I'm looking forward to Superman.
Oh yeah, when does that Superman movie?
I'm not even sure, but it's the only thing I've seen that I'm like inspired and hopeful for the creative choices made with an existing property.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to see that Superman movie. That might be one of the big ones here. I don't know if it's my biggest one because I mean, yeah, I'll check it out as it comes out here. It looks like it'll be pretty good because they got Crypto the Superdog.
Yeah, I mean, it feels right. And I'm a huge DC guy. I love DC, and I haven't loved a lot of the movies. In fact, I've had active hate campaigns against a lot of the movies because I think they're hot garbage.
Yeah, you're
especially Batman versus Superman.
I didn't even see that one. I knew better.
You're lucky you didn't. Justice League as well. I hate.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But I spent a lot of time reading the comics. I loved the Justice League cartoon series when I was a kid. That's like that was my window when I was growing up. I was watching that Justice League series.
They could just do one of those arcs and just do that'd be.
That's why I'm hopeful.
That'd be cool.
This.
Like we need Gorilla Grog. We need to break into this thing.
Yeah, Gorilla Grog.
Something silly like that. Just like.
All right, so New Home Film Society. What do we got coming up? We got the baseball series.
Yes,
right?
we started the baseball series, and we will have the first film. Because this one, and we said this before, embarrassment of riches with our baseball films. So every baseball movie.
I was arguing to get additional ones that we ended up not showing.
I know,
Steven shot me down.
There was a bunch of them good ones that it's like, we just don't have room for it. But we decided, not that we're going to watch them not in the order they were released in, but like when they're set. Because that's another interesting factor about these.
Because baseball changes so much.
Baseball changes any different seasons. So we're going to go back to 1919 with the Black Sox scandal when the White Sox allegedly
fixing the World Series
with the mob influences, and of course that movie is called 8 Men Out, so we'll be watching that.
Charlie Sheen, right?
He's in it, but the lead is actually John Cusack.
Yep.
They're both in it, but Charlie Sheen. It's interesting because Charlie Sheen could actually play baseball, so he knew what he was physically doing. He could actually go out there and do the stuff. So. He appears in some other baseball movies as well.
Yeah.
So, but we're not watching those because we don't have room for those.
Well, I mean, and everybody has seen Major League. So it's like we love to watch Major League, but it's
one of my rules is when we started the thing is like if we're gonna do this baseball series, my big point was we probably should get one of the films that Charlie Sheen popped in, and we should probably get one of the movies where Kevin Costner
movies,
which we did. We're gonna get Bull Durham. We got Bull Durham.
We were picking the lesser on both of those. I mean, like the lesser seen one on both.
Well, it's arguable. I mean, I think everyone's.
I think we already did Fields of Dreams, right?
No, we never did Field of
Oh,
Dreams.
okay.
We can do Field of Dreams. There's some other thing I'm sure it'll fit in. We'll figure it out. I was just joking. There's so many weird themes that like, wow, there's a lot of things that fit in that very specific genre.
Yes,
I was joking with Steve, like, because I stumbled across a really, really bad B movie here at the Brown County Historical Society's book sale here. I found a copy of a Werewolf in a Woman's Dormitory from 1962, and I'm like, horror movies set on college campuses. That we could do
There's
an entire.
a ton of
There
those,
are.
a ton.
There's so many.
I would love to do Urban Legend. Let's do Urban Legend.
Urban Legends or Scream 2
Scream 2, yeah.
for that matter. But although the thing is, we wouldn't be able to watch Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory because that movie's title's misleading, and quite frankly, it's not very good. They dubbed it poorly from Spanish, and it's not in a dormitory; it's in a girls' reformatory because all of them had been arrested for something.
Oh my God!
So it's totally an exploitation. You just feel dirty after watching that.
Maybe we shouldn't have admitted that.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. It's like, but I just like, so if anyone wants a copy, I'll give it away for free. But yeah, there's so many things here. Baseball movies, there's so many different styles and because they come in comedies, they come in dramas, they come in historical period piece based on true stories, which this first one we're going to watch is based on a true story. It actually happened. And
Angels in the Outfield did not happen. That is not.
Well, it didn't make our cut either. We talked about it. It's like, I think again a lot of people saw that one. So.
All right. Well, we should probably wrap it up here. Thanks again for tuning in. Go see a movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Clay.
Go watch a movie.